here in London's West End, and this is the hot spot to be if you're a huge fan of musical theatre. Now I'm here to see the global phenomenon Hamilton and to check out one superstar in particular.
Years later, see Alexander's mother bedridden, half dead. Time to take a shot, time to take a shot, and I am not throwing away my shot.
What do you think of Eliza Hamilton's performance on stage?
Loved it so much. She shows like the best prominent emotion ever.
Her vocals were incredible. She was genuinely a standout.
I think it was great. I think she sang beautifully. She did everything wonderfully. So I think it was really impactful.
Now, what if I told you that she's Singaporean? Did you know?
No, I didn't know
I
that.
did not know, no.
She's from Singapore, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Did you know that she's Singaporean?
No.
No.
Performance was incredible.
Amazing.
I'm Rozz, a self-confessed travel junkie. This time, I'm packing my bags to discover the stories of extraordinary Singaporeans abroad. They're all masters of their craft and creating waves overseas. In this episode, I'm meeting Nathania Ong, the star who's been shining on theatre stages in London's West End.
How are you guys? Are you okay?
Oh, you sing so beautifully.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for coming. I appreciate that. Hiya.
I really like your work. Really good. So nice to hear you sing.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Have a good night.
Have a lovely evening.
Nathania Ong is only 26, but already has 3 West End shows under her belt. After gaining recognition as Eponine on Les Miserables, Nathania is now acting in the multi-award-winning musical Hamilton as the wife of the titular character.
Maddie!
Hey, girl.
What's happening?
Nothing much. Just looking at the old Alexander Hamilton.
This is not the script, right? This is the actual biography about the actual person.
Yes.
So what, reading this book is helping you research the role that you're playing?
Yeah, definitely. My character, Eliza, was a historical character. Because of that, any and all information that I can find really leads into my interpretation of her.
Hamilton the Musical tells the story of Alexander Hamilton, one of America's founding fathers and the first Secretary of the Treasury. Crucial to his success was his wife, Eliza Hamilton, who supported him during his political pursuits. And that's the role Nathania is playing.
She was effectively like Alexander's right-hand man. She did a lot of charity work and ended up being quite a prolific figure. She has such a wonderful kindness and patience about her. She did so much good in this world, but at the same time, she wasn't a pushover. And I think for me as an actor has been a very difficult balance to strike.
Why is that so?
Because it's not me, girl. I wouldn't say I'm a terrible person, but I definitely don't have that much kindness. I'm very much a go-getter. I want to do things, I want to get things done. I'm very fast, very direct. Whereas I think that Eliza has a very settledness about her. Endless massive patience and kindness.
Okay, so now that the show is already running, you've got the role. Is this over? All your work's done? Or is there more to improve on?
This is just the beginning. I'm constantly trying to improve myself, constantly trying to be better, do more. So, no, definitely not.
Actually, it would be really, really cool if you could see how you prep for the show, prep for the character before you go on stage.
Yeah, by all means, come on, let's go. Let's go.
Backstage?
Yeah,
Backstage?
why not?
You're hooking me up.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, all right, let's go.
Nathania shows me part of what she does in her 30-minute vocal warm-up before every performance. This prepares her for close to 3 hours of singing on stage each night.
How does Nathania's voice make her suitable to play lead roles in musical theatre?
Nat's voice is just so natural. I mean, she's a fantastic singer, we know, but she's also an exceptional actor.
He was 10 dead-ridden. 2 years later, see Alexander's mother bedridden, half dead.
There's this whole thing about acting through song, and it's just about retaining all that musical technique, but able to tell the story as well, able to stay in character. And it all seems so effortless, so we don't feel like we're watching a performance, we feel like we're watching the character tell the story in the most natural way, yet also just delivering great vocal. And I think the best people to do musical theatre are ones that can combine the two.
Look around, and how lucky we are to be alive right now.
And this doesn't come easily to most people.
No, not at all. They're very few and far between.
This is the dressing room.
Look at that, your name. Wow.
Yeah, I think this is like the first time I've had my own dressing room. And it's like, it's kind of magical, you know?
Yes.
This is very important. This is my little kitchenette with kettle, microwave.
So Asian, you gotta have the hot kettle.
It's so important, it is. If I'm feeling like a little bit under the weather, I'll just make myself like a little tea with just like usually ginger and turmeric, and then I'll have like a little like ginger shot. This one is like super spicy.
Okay, so much is happening. 30 minutes of showtime. I gotta leave Nathania. But I am curious though, how did a Singapore girl wind up in the West End?
I went for all of these like various auditions and then unfortunately got rejected from all of them.
Nathania Ong is West End's latest Eliza Hamilton. I want to find out how she got this role, so I'm meeting one of the people who shortlisted her amongst thousands of applicants.
So what is it about Nathania that you thought, okay, I see Eliza Hamilton in her?
I remember some of her auditions, we used to just get shivers when she used to sing. She has such a brilliant capacity for emotion, and it makes my job very, very easy. She's so great with her thoughts and her understanding of characterization that she just flies in this part. Eliza's a tricky part. She starts as a very young woman that meets Hamilton for the first time in a ballroom, and we see her become a woman that's married to Hamilton and the conflicts that that marriage brings. She goes into that conflict so beautifully, and we really see that journey. And I think an actress that has the capacity to do that, like Nathania, is just exactly what we're looking for.
Have you worked with other actors from Singapore here in the West End?
I don't think I have. I think this is my first time working with a Singaporean actor. But the most wonderful thing about Hamilton, I think, is that we really celebrate diversity here. We have a company that come from all different backgrounds and ethnicities, and all from around the world. I think Nathania, being a Singaporean actor, fits in beautifully within this casting company.
Nathania was in the UK for 3 years before getting her first role in the West End. This morning, she takes me to where it all started.
Hey Rozz, so here we are. We're here at the Shaftesbury Theatre. And this is where I made my West End debut as the role of Jenna Rowland in Be More Chill.
So how did you feel that was your breakthrough into the West End?
Oh my gosh, it was so magical. Like, I was so incredibly ecstatic when I first got the role. I think more than anything, I was really proud to have something to show to my family. It wasn't the first thing I auditioned for. It's so competitive, and I think I was just very fortunate that something stuck for me.
And just 2 months after, she was cast as Eponine in the musical classic Les Miserables.
How does it feel to play Eponine?
It was a dream, and I think it was just like the biggest privilege in my life. I feel very, very lucky to have gotten to do that.
I think it's more than just luck, my girl. Like, seriously, I mean, you just graduated 3 years ago and you've got like 3 major castings on the West End. Give yourself some credit, it's talent.
Thank you very much.
It's hard work.
It didn't always start out super easy. I feel like I've really, really been taken care of by the people who have auditioned me, by my agents. I just feel really lucky, but also like I work real hard, I won't lie.
Well, you can tell me all about that.
Okay. I first came to audition for 5 different schools when I was about 18 years old. In my head, I was already pretty decent at singing, so I wanted to try my hand at something I was a little bit less familiar with. I auditioned for 5 different top drama schools, not realizing that it was incredibly competitive and difficult to get in.
So how did the auditions go?
Well, to be honest, they didn't go great, I won't lie. I went for all of these like various auditions and then unfortunately got rejected from all of them. There was a really, really sad like cinematic moment of me being sat on my friend's balcony and her flat was overlooking the Thames, and I remember staring at it as the sun was setting and I could see a bunch of like kayakers going past and I went, wow, they're really enjoying their life. For me, as like a sad little 18-year-old who was incredibly hopeful, getting that rejection was quite a big blow to me.
So after all the rejections, what did you do?
I ended up like flying back to Singapore and going to LaSalle for the BA Straight Acting course there.
Do you always have it at the back of your mind that someday we'll go back to London and maybe try again?
No.
Oh, really?
No, I actually didn't at the time. I kind of gave up on all of that altogether. I think because I was so young and I was so hopeful, and then that was so painful to me, and I spent so much money. I was a student at the time, I didn't have a lot available to me, and so I kind of just gave up on that. But my best friend convinced me to try again. She just told me, she was like, why are you being silly? Worst they can say is no lah. Like,
yeah.
So I was like, okay, fine, like maybe you're right. I actually applied for Mountview. They're one of the top musical theatre schools. I think their dean is Judi Dench.
Wow.
Famous actress lady.
Yes, we know Judi Dench.
Yes, I only applied for 1 school.
And you got it?
I got it.
That's right. But seriously though, when did you realize that, hey, you know what, I can do this, I've got talent, I'm gifted?
I discovered my love for singing at a very young age, but I don't think that I am the person who should be commenting on that. I think to know any of that, you'd have to ask my first singing teacher.
So Nathania has set me up on a Zoom call with her vocal coach, whose name I don't even know, so I'm here sitting in a cafe waiting for a call to come through. Who am I admitting? Hi!
Hi, Ross. I'm Nathania's dad.
No, get out, you're the coach?
I guess I was the first vocal coach.
How come you are the vocal coach? Are you also like a singer?
I've done a bit of singing in my time. It was part of my CCA, I would call it.
So did you have formal training as a vocal coach?
No formal training at all. Just lots of experience and lots of questions in my mind about technique, about what makes singing, what sounds good and what doesn't sound good. And when Natty came along, I realized I actually had quite a bit of information I could pass on to her. Of all my 4 daughters, I'm probably closest to Natty because we spent the most time together. When she was performing, we'd sit together, choose her songs, and she would tell you she hated working songs with me because to work on one verse could take us an hour.
Feel pretty, oh so pretty.
She actually has perfect pitch. By the time you reach about 8, 9 years old, you start to hear there's something different about this voice. It's actually quite special. So I helped her along with whatever I could.
To be a singer, a pop star. Don't wanna wait till school's out. I want to be one now.
Did you have concerns about her being able to handle the audience?
She had no issues. She loves to perform.
A dazzling place I never knew, but now from where you appear.
By the time she was about 11, I got a call. They're looking for someone to sing the national anthem for the YOG closing ceremony. Would Natty like to try? I said, yeah, I'm sure she would.
Mari kita rakyat Singapura sama-sama menuju
27,000 audience, global TV audience, and this little girl standing on stage with a 60-strong choir behind her of older kids.
From then on, did you realize like, hey, maybe she could really take this to a next level and really go pro?
She was really just performing for the most part, but at one point when she was a bit older, I felt that we needed some sort of calling card to send out to the recording companies. So we came up with a CD, which we recorded when she was 15 years old. It's called Unshakable.
Oh my gosh.
I had a patient of mine who said he knew one of the top executives in a music publishing house. We sent over the CD and we had a meeting. We had dinner with him. He totally wasn't impressed with Natty's voice at all. It was at that point I told her, Natty, the pop world is not looking at voices anymore. They're only interested in marketing. And she had to give up a dream. It was probably one of the darkest moments of her life at 15 years old. She was devastated.
That's nuts.
She's gone through quite a bit, that little girl.
So I spoke to your dad. So you know what he did? He actually showed me a little CD that you did.
Stop, no.
A pop CD that you recorded when you were a teenager.
I was a little kid. I was about like 15 years old. I had written a bunch of songs and I think I always loved singing. I had like big wild dreams of like becoming a pop star.
Yeah.
I think we did send it to like 1 or 2 bigger record labels and unfortunately like it didn't really get traction on that front.
Now you take it to the record labels and they said no. How did that make you feel?
It was kind of heartbreaking. It's one of those things where it's like the more hopeful you are for something, the harder the crash in that sense. And I was like, I'm not singing anymore. I took a back step and I did that for about 2 years, I'd say.
When do you decide to like, hey, I can sing again?
I just appealed into acting and theatre. So because of that, like, I kind of had to perform so I could stay in the school.
Nathania earned a spot in the Anglo-Chinese Junior College based on her potential to contribute to the school's drama program, so she had to return to the stage.
During those 2 years, it would be a lie for me to say that I didn't like miss the stage. I think I was very much the opposite, like I was craving it. And I actually think that that kind of reignited my love for it.
Nathania's voice piqued the interest of local theatre company Pandemonium, whose 2023 staging of Into the Woods brought Nathania back to Singapore after she took her final bow in Les Miserables. And her trip back to Singapore gained her one very special fan.
So last December, Natty has a concert in Singapore. It's kind of like a homecoming concert. So me and some friends rock up to Natty's concert, and obviously from the get-go, like jaw-droppingly good.
So you fell in love. You went to see this girl you've never met before. You saw her on stage and go like, wow.
Mild crush.
Hey, save me
Mild
some
crush.
face.
Okay.
I was like doing stage door. I was meeting every single person who was there, trying to say hello, shake hands, whatever.
And he was there.
I thought he was cute. In my head, I was like, oh, yeah, I meet him. If it doesn't work out, worst case friends. That's it. And also at the time, I was on a really tight time frame because I'd planned to fly off in January to just come back to London and start the grind again, start auditioning, everything. And then I just kept like pushing the date later and later.
We're here now into this long distance relationship. How's that going for you?
Like most of the work in the long distance relationship is, and also part of the joy of it, I guess, is finding like the moments where you can like squeeze out that pocket of time.
How long would you be acting in Hamilton for?
I will be playing this role for a year and then a little bit longer if they decide to renew me and if I also decide to renew with them.
So then what happens then after this run?
Then I will jump back into the auditioning process.
So you've acted in Singapore and you are acting in London right now. Do you feel like there's a different level of respect towards actors here versus at home?
It's more common to be a professional actor in the UK than it is in Singapore. Until you have a name in Singapore, you don't necessarily get respected in that sense. Always the relatives, you know, it's always like the old aunties. They say, Aga, what are you doing? Like, do your parents know about this? Like, and I'm like, of course.
Like, do you feel like Singaporeans, from a performer's perspective, like give more attention to foreign productions?
I think that something that the UK and America has done very well is that they have ingrained theatre into their cultural practice. And I think that that's not necessarily something that happens in Singapore. There's definitely like good work being done in Singapore, but again, I just feel like they haven't had enough time to be able to like develop all of that.
When Hamilton ends for you, would you consider going back to Singapore and maybe picking up a role in the local theatre for a while, be with this gentleman here for a while?
Sensitive question.
This one, okay, no.
Whoa, all right.
I mean, I think that it would definitely be a big plus. I won't lie, like I do think that the UK, having a slightly more mature industry, has a better financial aspect, but I wouldn't necessarily be opposed to coming back to Singapore because I do think that they do some really lovely work. I think that I've always considered Singapore my home and it would be a privilege for me to come back.